as me. It's not a high standard, guys.
Yeah. And I may add, before we get into this, unfortunately, we have very low standards and we're actually very easy to work with. But women still somehow manage to mess that up. They have an abundance of choice. Guys are pretty simple, pretty easy to work with, but they still somehow manage to mess it up. I really do believe that they're self-sabotagers in nature just because they inherently don't feel like they deserve good things. That's why they probably like people who treat them like shit. Just a thought. Just throwing that out there.
I gave up saying no kids by other men. I mean, you know, for God's sake, I'm not getting married to these trollops. But it's almost like not even worth trying because there's so many barriers and there's so many people who just don't want anything to do with any kind of fucking future. Do you enjoy not having a future? Because I'm not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying this. And I have to live in this world with you. Okay? I've been on my deathbed. I had chronic liver failure. Terminal. They didn't think I was going to live. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I turned around and woke up. I still have to live and be sober every day in this shit future. And nothing about the future is better. Nothing about this future is better. Everything is run by AI, fucking call centers. And then you have to say operator, 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 operator. And then they hang up on you. HP saying that they purposely fucking, if you want to talk to a human being, they make you wait for 15 minutes before they even route the call. Every new car is shit. The new home builds are shit. The currency's worth nothing. We have a zero trust society.
1,000%.
Nobody can get laid.
Yeah, man, it kind of sucks because even though I practice semen retention and stuff, it kind of sucks just knowing that the only way, and every guy has sexual desire, especially if you're young, the only way I can really get it off is if I watch the hub. Like, that's some bullshit. And if you do want to get laid, you have to jump through a million hoops just to even do it. And then it ends up being, like, not even that good. Life. It's life that none of us signed up for.
Ghosting. Ghosting is your concern. The sacrifices, expenses, the lifelong responsibilities, and deciding that it's not for them. The traditional blueprint for happiness has changed. And for many, the freedom to live life on their own terms is far more appealing than following an outdated script that doesn't fit the desires.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of traditional things are just outdated scripts. I feel like a lot of stuff is outdated scripts because, like, this world is just completely different. And a lot of stuff that applied back then just doesn't really apply now. Just my 2 cents.
What level of Dante's Inferno did the people who just endlessly pursued their desires end up on? Instead of settling down, they're choosing a path that prioritizes personal fulfillment over societal norms. Yeah, good luck. Again, this rampant selfishness is all predicated on the idea that there are altruistic, competent, conscientious people who will keep turning the levers that keep the power grid going for you. You can't just have endless pleasure and endless self-fulfillment. There has to be some level of sacrifice in your life. And yes, some meta sacrifice, some grand existential sacrifice of perpetuating the species. People would rather travel than explore than settle down.
So I'm curious what this prompt was. I started this video
Settling
like 20
down
minutes
often
in.
comes with responsibilities that can feel limiting. And for many, the freedom to travel and explore is far more appealing. You know what's funny is it just really isn't. They keep telling us this. I keep getting fed travel, 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 travel. Every live stream I do, every video I do, the comments are, you need to get out more. You need to go travel. I have no desire to travel. I don't know how to describe it. It's not there, guys. Without the constraints of a serious relationship or the obligations of family life, single people can prioritize adventure. Yeah, until when? Until you wake up at 35 and you realize that nobody wants to be around you? Like, you're all gonna get old. We're all gonna get old.
Yeah, I mean, and that stuff is cool and all, but there's a time frame that you really ideally should be, doing that. But yes, everyone's gonna get old, and no one beats time. And the worst thing probably is just to be. At least I understand. There's a lot of divorced people out there that maybe. Let's be real. I'm not too sure. There's too many women that are divorced and alone. Maybe they are though, man. At the end of the day, there's a lot of cap women out there probably, but. It's one thing if you had a family and are divorced and alone, but never even at least having it, and you've always been alone, that gotta sting a little bit. Because you always feel like you're missing out on something. At least the people who had it and then lost it, or it just didn't work out, they knew what it was like, and they don't really feel like they missed out on something. That FOMO, man, feeling is a crazy feeling, man.
And we're not gonna be able to just rely on hospice. You know what hospice is? Hospice is what they call, and the state pays for it, and they come and help you die. No, but you just want to have your endless fulfillment and travel and endless pleasures with hot Marco and Romeo and Chadio and Fadio. Over in Italy. Endless adventures and orgasms with no responsibilities. And you women, you would be fine with living that life and having the state pay for the whole thing while you do your travel blog bullshit. And then come back to the States at 60 and go, I've had a good life. It's time to go die and go to the Soylent Green factory and put on the tape of the sunset and go into the great beyond. You'd be fine with that. Oh, I'm not, I can't work. I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to live anymore. You've all bought this lie. Are you enjoying your life? I'm not trying, again, I'm being selfish here when I say this. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to convince anyone else how to live, how they should be, how life should be. I'm being virtuously selfish here. In a Randian sense. I have to exist in this shit future. And I don't enjoy it. Like, there's got to be someone who wants to have sex with, like, come on. Like, the great outdoors is having its moment, with the majority of people, 58%, interested in traveling for outdoors, trailed by people for arts and culture, food, and visit family and friends. Traveling offers a kind of fulfillment that relationships don't always provide. It's an opportunity to meet new people. Again, they keep saying relationships, not hooking up, not sexual trysts. Many find that they don't want to give up this freedom for the sake of stability. The idea of being tied down to one place or the other person can feel suffocating when there's an entire world to see. For these individuals, staying single isn't just a phase. It's a lot. God. It's not a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle choice that aligns with their sense of adventure and self-discovery. Dating apps feel more like a game than something serious. Because,
Bro, you gotta
again,
swipe on like 10,000 people just to actually like, go on a date with a chick on a dating app, bro. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but you gotta spend a lot of time on that. Sifting and sifting and sifting. And like, it's such a rigged game. Like, if you're on a guy as a dating app and you're not a Chad or whatever, and you're not taking like, you can even be like a good looking dude, but if your profile sucks, which a lot of dudes' profiles suck, then you just good luck, bro. Because at the end of the day, you think women are judgmental in person, you think women are already judgmental. Well, just exponentiate that by like about 20, and that's how they are on dating apps. So at the end of the day, like, I just don't understand why guys are on there unless you have an absolutely stellar profile, and you kind of have to cap a bit. Don't even say your height. You might as well just say you're 6 foot and up, even if you're not on a dating app. Because that's what you're really subjecting yourself to. You're subjecting yourself to get judged by women who already have extremely large egos, but yet at the same time are the most insecure beings on the face of the earth. But yet have the biggest egos. And you're subjecting yourself to either get yayed or nayed by a chick just solely based off of how you look, which most guys, let's be real, most women find most guys unattractive. Because most women have this idealization of this perfect guy in their head that just doesn't exist. And most women are all going to share the same guys. You've heard the fucking song and dance before. But yeah, guys, I understand. I know the opportunity cost is pretty low on a dating app. I get that. I know you can be sitting, taking a shit, and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you don't have to muster up the courage to approach a girl in person. I could see why it's enticing, but at the end of the day, what are the stats? How many guys are actually truly going on dates on dating apps? I heard this one study of Tinder saying 1.5 million a week. I just don't believe that. If that were the case, 1.5 million people were going on dates per week, then you wouldn't hear about all this stuff. Or I guess those 1.5 million people are just the 1.5 million, I guess, Chads. Because the population is pretty big, so like that percentage maybe just be the Chads or people who, I don't know, man. Anyways, in my experience with dating apps, subpar in results.
I'm going to try to be nice. Whose fault is that, guys? Whose fault is that? Dating apps feel like a game. Whose fault is that? You know, there before probably 2015? You could actually go on a dating app in the morning and meet up with somebody for at least for drinks that night, and maybe they were using you to get drunk. That happened to me a lot. Some girl would, she was not interesting, and she was not interested in getting to know me at all. She just wanted to get drunk. And then she'd turn on the waterworks right at about 8 or 9 o'clock when happy hour ended, and I paid the bill, and then put her in a cab and gave her $20. Gee, I wonder why I've spent my 20s broke. Oh, you're a nice guy, Raymond. Fuck. Dating apps have made meeting people easier, but they've also turned
And he brought up another point too. Like, you really never know what the intentions are, bro. They know what your intentions are. They know you're trying to smash, and at the end of the day, they're gonna use that and weaponize it against you. So, I've had times where I felt like I was used. I'm sure you guys have too. At the end of the day, so like, even if you do land the date, they could not even really fuck with you. They just want to use you for the good time that you're inviting them to tag along with, because they're bored. They have an opening that day. That's the one day that they're not with the dude. And just so you know, just in PS, that person who's really actually getting in the cheeks isn't even taking them out on dates more than likely. Hence, going back to that self-esteem and not really feeling like they deserve anything. Hey, man.
Into a numbers game with endless swiping. It's a numbers game for hot people. Dating apps is just a meat market for hot people. But they've also turned dating into a numbers game with endless swiping, short-lived conversations, and people treating connections like temporary distractions. Yeah, you pretty much just summed it up there, lady. It's hard to find something meaningful. The constant availability of new matches makes committing feel unnecessary, and many people aren't interested in competing for attention. Instead of spending time in shallow interactions that rarely lead anywhere, more people are walking away from the dating scene entirely. The gamification of dating has made relationships feel transactional. Or have they just shed a light on
how
the
they've always
truth? It's always been a transaction. I mean, fuck. Cheaper to keeper was around in the 70s. My dad tells stories about growing up in Holiday Valley.
I did not know that.
It's a subdivision of Enon, Ohio. And he was telling me that every other family on his blocks, it was like divorcee, 2-parent household, divorcee, 2-parent household, divorcee, 2-parent household. Like it was rampant in the 70s, the late 60s and the 70s when he was growing up. The endless scrolling can be exhausting, leaving users feeling more disillusioned than hopeful. Many realize that they're happier without the stress of competing for attention in an oversaturated dating pool. Rather than participating in a system that prioritizes instant gratification over meaningful connection, they choose to step away from dating apps and embrace the life of independence. Sure they do. Real independent. Let me guess, these ladies have subsidized student loans they're not paying off. I guarantee you their parents are still paying their credit cards. The amount of women I have found that their parents pay their credit cards is unconscionable.
That's actually...
and I'm sure
that's
they
crazy.
have sugar daddies and arrangements where they get a couple $100 a month for pics or something. $1,000 for a meetup. In the past, marriage often provided financial stability. But today, people are fully capable of supporting themselves. No, they're not. They're living off the state. It's a massive 45% of your income goes towards taxes. If you're a single male with no kids, 45% of your income goes to taxes. People are fully capable of supporting themselves. Women in particular are no longer relying on marriage for security, and both men and women are prioritizing their careers and financial independence over relationships. The idea of staying in a relationship for financial reasons has become outdated, and without that pressure, people are choosing partners based on emotional connection rather than necessity, and emotions are based on how she feels that day. So there's no point in even attempting.
Yeah, because that's the worst thing you can ever bank on is how a woman's feeling. Like, that's fucking insane. It's really like, it doesn't matter what you did 2 weeks ago, the whole relationship, last week, or yesterday. It's all about what can you do for me today. I forgot all the shit you did for me in the past, so it doesn't matter. I'm in the present moment, and what can I extract out of you right now?
Women just want a hot guy that will never tell her no. Financial independence has allowed people to live life on their terms. They no longer have to compromise on their ambitions, relocate for a partner, or settle for someone just to split the bills. This level of autonomy means relationships are no longer a means to an end, but rather a conscious choice. Look, they let the mask slip right there. They're no longer a means to an end, but rather a conscious choice. It's like they're almost admitting what they were the whole time. And for many,
and still are. Like, what the fuck?
This is to remain single, enjoying the freedom that financial stability provides without the complications of a committed relationship. Oh, you're all forgetting all the casual sex you go get to have, and men don't. More people are actually realizing they prefer their own company for a long time being.
Yeah, like any of you guys watching, just think of like the ugliest chick like you went to high school with, or just like in that range of like, you know, chicks that were just unattractive. Yeah, just P.S. They got more options than you, and they could get laid way quicker than you would.
Single was seen as something to avoid, in between phase before finding the right person. But now more people are realizing that they genuinely enjoy their own company. Instead of viewing solitude as loneliness, they see it as freedom. They can make decisions without compromise, pursue their interests without distraction, and structure their days exactly how they want. Relationships require emotional energy, and for many, being single simply feels easier, more peaceful, and more aligned with their personal happidness.
And I'm pretty sure it is, man. A relationship's like a whole nother job, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a cop out being the single route. At the end of the day, it kind of is, but it's also like pretty fucking pointless now to be in a relationship. Just knowing that most women won't even, if they even are in a relationship with you, probably don't even really fucking like you like that. And I mean, I get it. There's always some exchange. But the way how these relationships, you know, in particular marriage ends, and how badly it is for most guys. I mean, I'm sure guys will still continue to get married and do that anyways, because being lonely is not the most pleasant thing, but is a relationship really worth it though? And especially considering the fact that it'd be pretty awfully hard to find a girl that's actually, it's worth it to be in a relationship with. Girl that wouldn't just bleed you dry. Extract everything they can out of you. And then when a better, more fun, new, fresh option comes along, just kick you to the curb and act like you never meant nothing. You never meant anything to her. Is that worth it? I guess that's for you to decide, and that's just the risk that we got to take as men, because in most cases, just based on how things usually play out, a lot of men allow the women to have the most of the power in the relationship, because because men are in scarcity, because in actuality, I mean, we're just gonna always be in scarcity in comparison to like the options a chick can get. I heard something that like an average female has more options than a fucking like NFL player or like an NBA player. That's fucking crazy. Like the best way to describe like being famous is being like an attractive woman. Like that's the best way. Imagine how many looks she gets a day. And like I'm not hating on it. At the end of the day, like kudos to them. Cool. I mean, they're blessed. Cards played out right, all that stuff. But I'm just letting you guys know what you guys are up against. And they have way more experience than most guys, because they just were able to have that, actually able to obtain that experience. So either way, they're going to run laps around most guys, because most guys can't even get the experience to keep up.
As long as you still get Chad on the weekends, right, ladies? Look, right. I don't mind doing everything by myself. Coming back to a house that is in perfect order, that's clean, to a kitchen that's clean and everything's put away, to, you know, cleaning up after myself when I cook and there's no dirty dishes in the sink. The bathtub and the bath toilet is clean when I use them. Because, you know, I'm a functioning adult and I cook and clean for myself. Yeah, that's kind of nice. But it would sure be nice to have some sex every once in a while, God forbid. As self-care and personal growth have become bigger priorities, people are learning that they don't need a relationship to feel whole.
Fuck, it's crazy that like even like normal regular guys are turning into incels. Gotta love it. Like honestly, I'm pretty sure like the average guy in 2025 is a fucking incel. This point, and it was not even like that, like pre-COVID. Like this is insane. Like I'm pretty sure like the average guy in 2025 is legitimately in his zone. And you know, you could probably include me in that group as well, since I am, you know, on more the average spectrum. But yeah, man, that's crazy times, dystopian times we live in, man. The West is just not what it's cracked up to be. And on top of that, this shit's spreading to the rest of the world too. It's like a fucking virus, a disease of pretty much not being human anymore. That's kind of the best way I can articulate that. It's just like we don't even see each other as like other people as human beings anymore. That have feelings, emotions, a fucking past, probably full of trauma, living in a Western society. Man.
They can cultivate strong friendships. No, you're not. You're not. I don't believe you. Meaningful careers and create fulfilling lives on their own rather than rushing into something just for the sake of it. And they're embracing the independence and self-sufficiency that come with being single. And more they enjoy their autonomy, the less appealing it is to becomes to sacrifice. There's that word again, sacrifice. You're going to give up your whole life for a relationship that may not add real value to their life. Okay, here we go. Now we're starting to admit the truth. Hookup culture has blurred the lines of commitment. The rise of hookup culture has made casual relationships more common. Not for guys. I haven't had any in 8 fucking years. 8 years. With commitment being less of a priority, traditional relationships have become harder to define. They're admitting it right here. People are more likely to engage in situationships. No, not really. Hot women are, and hot guys are, where there's an emotional connection but no real commitment. For those who want something stable and reliable, this uncertainty is exhausting, leading many to step away from dating altogether. That used to be a straightforward path. Dating exclusively, long-term commitment, has now turned into a confusing web of undefined relationships. Some people enjoy the freedom, but others find it draining to constantly question where they stand with a person. Rather than navigating the ambiguity and emotional ups and downs, many are choosing to remove themselves from the dating scene entirely, prioritizing clarity and peace of mind over the unpredictability of modern romance. Like I described at the beginning of this video,
Yeah, so this is pretty much Western society right here in a nutshell. Just burning in hell. And this is the life of an average man in the Western society. Just pulling up their bootstraps and burning in hell.
pretty much all of the last trysts and dates and one night stands, whatever, that have happened. The last relationship that ended 15 years ago, it ended because she was sleeping with other people. And I didn't want to be that lifestyle. I didn't want that lifestyle. I wanted long-term relationship commitment. I wanted it.
And that just goes to show that women are, as you're saying, you know, women are in business, men are in love, women are in business. But let's see what these comments are talking about. Since we get to the gist. Yeah, no, he really does have the biggest nuts. The biggest set of nuts online. Admitting you haven't had sex in 8 years takes incredible courage. Like, it could be 50 years for me. You're not waterboarding that. You're not getting that. You would have to waterboard that information out of me. You know what it's cool about being single is no one giving you crap when you get home after a long day shift. Yeah, 100%. Imagine that. Like, you're trying to put food on the table and shit, working a fucking terrible job just to get nagged at. Fuck that, man. 56 years old, I can relate, single with no kids. I'm decent looking and stable, gonna go ride my bike. Woman wants to date Spider-Man but walk past Peter Parker every day. Damn. You're right, man. When threes with multiple kids think they're eights, what can we do with that? Yeah, that's a huge part of the problem. Even 30 years ago, women didn't really care. They just had their objective. I grew up in the Mormon church, and all the girls wanted to marry a guy who served a mission. They weren't really in love with the guy. They just wanted to be married to an RM, period. We don't mean anything to them and never have. Damn, man. If you take sex off the table, what can she do for you? Once you take sex off the table, you really see it's no reason to get. 100%. Like I said, I said this thing like, if guys had no sexual desire or whatnot, or our biology didn't just trick us into feeling like we like these girls like that, no guy would ever deal with any chick. Because guys offer far more to women than women can ever offer men. I'm just keeping it a buck. But one thing women can offer, but I didn't think it's a mutual thing with that. So it's not even like they really can offer that. Because women can't have a kid without the fucking seed. I'm 25, never had no girlfriend, or women have never shown any interest in me. Today, looks are everything. If you don't have looks, do not expect to find a healthy and sustainable relationship. That's what happens in a society that is completely devoid of any moral, social order, and restraint. Yeah, looks is pretty much everything. Voluntarily living in harams and complaining. I'll just end with this. Western society is pretty much doomed because men and women are actually better off together, but they can't even get along, and it's not even really fucking. It's honestly just a one-way street. It's really just women. In these cases, it's really just women, and it's just. Some people you just can't save. I'll just leave it at that.